Hello, everybody. The Healing Oracle here. And in this quick segment, I will be speaking of forgiveness and what it's about, why it is, why we need to do it, and why a lot of us have trouble with forgiveness. So, when we're in my previous segment, I spoke of energy and vibration and frequency. So, each emotion holds its own frequency, its own vibration. So, remember, I spoke of vibration is the act of vibrating, the movement, and the frequency is the sound that it produces. So, forgiveness being on the higher end of the frequency spectrum, it's a higher frequency emotion because it is an emotion, okay? It isn't energy. Anything emotion holds its own energy. So, what is it? So, forgiveness is the act of letting go of the emotion that you're holding against yourself or another person. So, when I speak of that we need to forgive, it's mostly about accepting that everything happens for a reason and everything happened for that specific reason because somebody had to learn something, whether it was you or the other person involved or the other people involved. Somebody had a karmic lesson there, whether it was patience, love, forgiveness, it's owned by itself. Um, you know, Healing, understanding. Sometimes it's a matter of just being aware. That's sometimes just a lesson. So, a lot of us are actually going to find it much easier to forgive the other or others rather than forgiving ourselves. Forgiving ourselves seems to be the hardest thing, the hardest lesson that any human can go through. But it's so important letting go of feelings that we're harnessing against ourselves. Whatever situation happened 20 years ago or last week, we need to go in and understand that whatever happened needed to happen so that you could learn what you needed to learn, so that you could be who you needed to be today. Because you have to go back and see that you wouldn't be who you are today if it wasn't for particular situations and if you hadn't have done this or that. And if you're speaking of situations that happened years ago or even last week, you're not the same person that you were 20 years ago or last week than you are today. But again, it had to happen so that you could be who you are today. So going back to the specific frequency of the actual emotion forgiveness. So going down to, let's look at courage. It sits at about like your 200 hertz range. And then above that you have neutrality at 250 hertz. And then you go to willingness, which is about 310. I think everybody's going to be like a give or take depending on who you are, what you got going on. And then forgiveness sits right in between willingness and acceptance, because willingness to forgive, then you reach acceptance of the situation that you are forgiving yourself or the other person for. And you have to forgive to reach the acceptance of all that is, has been, will be, has been for a reason. Okay. And then the magical tone 432 is somewhat higher than that. So willingness at 310, acceptance is about 350, and then you have reason. Okay, this is your knowledge and intelligence and rationality. then you go to the magical tone of 432, and that just gives you somewhere in between reason and love. But when you listen to these magical tones on YouTube with 432 hertz or megahertz, you're raising yourself up to that, so you're directly above reason but below love. But it raises you up enough to where you can have that love and understand love in that reach. And love is going to be your ultimate peace-giving emotion. Opens your heart chakra emotion. Now I want to change. I want to change the subject to why I chose the picture that I did for the specific video, and why the word forgiveness is locked inside this crystal ball, which also contains a figure which you can think of as yourself. So put yourself in the vision of you are this person inside this crystal ball with this forgiveness, because forgiveness is going to, if you do not let go of things, it's going to hold you, and it's going to stop you from progressing anywhere. When we're holding on to emotions, we are preventing ourselves from expanding, moving on, understanding. Okay, so again, going back to the definition of forgiveness, it's the letting go of old emotions that are no longer serving us. So if we don't rid ourselves of that, if we don't forgive either ourselves or others, we're going to be locked in this for as long as we are, until we do eventually let go. When we do let go, we allow for the higher vibrational emotions to come in. And when I'm speaking of higher vibrational frequency emotions, they weigh less. They literally weigh less. They take up less space in our energetic bodies. The higher the frequency, the less weight it carries. We eventually become light. We are lighter. Okay, we weigh less energetically. We are light. Okay, when someone says we are love and we are light, they're not just speaking of the physical manifestation of light. I mean, way less. They are lighter. Okay, and love is lighter. Love is light. There is so much more that I could delve into, but there's much more to come. I do hope you enjoyed this short video from the Healing Oracle. Follow me on Facebook at the Healing Oracle page, as well as subscribe, like, and follow, and tap the little bell to receive alerts each time I upload a video. I love you all. Thank you very much.